This video has been created to help aid you on how you could set up your FPL team for the start of the 18-19 season based on prices and stats using the website fantasyfootballfix.com, which have kindly allowed me to freely use their pre-season pack. Each draft will cover the main players as mentioned in the name of the draft, with mention to other key players added to make up the rest of your 15-man squad. Feel free to watch, gather ideas, pick and mix players until you get a team that sits happy with you. Oh, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more FPL pointers. First up is the Fantastic Four draft, putting all your eggs in the upfront basket. So that's where we'll start. Harry Kane, the World Cup Golden Boot winner. He finished top of the forwards last season with 217 points, 29 goals and 2 assists. He also boasts a hefty price tag of 12.5 for the start of the season. Be wary though, Kane has completed a full stint at the World Cup. This could see him miss out at the start of the season. I hope he's living it up on holidays. If you're going without though, make sure to plan a way to get Sir Harold back into your teams when he gets back. Aguero! Taking my next Fantastic Four spot is Aguero. He's 11 million and scored 169 points last season from 21 goals and 6 assists. He's second most expensive of the forwards along with Lukaku, but has a stellar run of games past Arsenal, and went less time into the World Cup tournament than some of his teammates. This doesn't mean he'll definitely start, especially as he's not in the pre-season squad. But with Jesus spending more time at the World Cup and a Charity Shield match at the start of the season to keep our eyes on, he's a great addition to this team. My triple forward threat comes from Aubameyang. I've been tracking Aubameyang since the end of last season, and I expect big things from him. He got 87 points from 10 goals and 4 assists in just 13 games since his debut at Arsenal last season. 31 shots taken and 19 of those were on target. Alba wasn't at the World Cup and is looking fresh. He scored a hat-trick in Arsenal's pre-season game against Boreham Wood. Sure, Arsenal have tough fixtures of Man City and Chelsea to start with, but I think this team offers attacking threat, if not defensive prowess. He will hit hard, and I'm calling this one early. Consider Aubameyang for your team. My Fantastic Four draft is finished with the mighty King Salah, Golden Boot winner of last season with a hefty 32 goals and 12 assists, resulting in 303 points. Managers may well want to pull their hair out when they see his 13 mil price tag, but if you're willing to forego elsewhere in other areas, like the defence in this team, then he can definitely be squeezed in. The rest of this team shows how you can go big on those 4 players, but not to ultimately expect much from the rest of your team. So that's the Fab 4. And as you can see, this takes nearly half of the budget. Then it's a case of filling your boots of budget players, and as I'll be covering a budget player draft, I'll go into some of these in a bit more detail later. But for now you'll see I filled the best of the rest with a lucky dip of cheap previous season performers, promoted hopefuls and players with good fixtures. This is the Park the Bus draft. As you can see, it does exactly what it says on the tin. Focuses solely on playing a 5-4-1 or a 5-3-2. For that reason, your defence should consist of as many defenders that can cover attacking returns as possible. Why? Because if any of these teams concede, a defender loses their clean sheet, and with it the best chance of them getting big points. That is unless they can grab you something attacking like a goal, an assist, or are penalty takers for their team. Also, spending big in a goalkeeper, you want to make sure they're likely to get clean sheets and saves. So we move on to David De Gea, being the top scoring goalkeeper of last season with 172 points from 18 clean sheets and bonus points. David De Gea probably won't start out with his usual defence ahead of him, meaning he could be shaky to start, but he does have reasonably good fixtures with Leicester and Brighton, and could be in a set and forget for the rest of the season. The first of our defenders for the Park the Bus draft we have Davies. Now Spurs are looking more and more like the no-go team for the start of the season, given the majority of their players were at the World Cup and Son is at the Asian Games. But this could leave room for sneaky differentials like Ben Davies. He got 143 points from 2 goals and 7 assists with 12 clean sheets last season. Again, Otamendi is another who did not travel with the pre-season squad, and so we will need to keep check on him. But if he starts in the Community Shield, Otamendi is a shout. He was third best defender behind the Chelsea boys last season with 156 points from 4 goals and 15 clean sheets. Then we have the new kid on the block in terms of attacking defence, Robertson. Robertson has risen to 6 mil this season, mainly due to his assist threat. He managed 5 in total last season and 1 goal with 10 clean sheets, mounting to 111 points. With a great run of games to start of West Ham, Palace and Brighton, he's hard to look past. Next up we have Coleman. Everyone is talking about this Everton side under Marco Silva, with a 22-0 against ATV Erding. Coleman was injured for a lot of last season, so amassed just 39 points with 1 goal and 4 assists. But with great fixtures until Gameweek 6 and exciting buzz around this team, we're all hoping he regains his 2013-14 season form of 6 goals and 2 assists and 15 clean sheets. Last but not least is Azpilicueta, Dave to his mates. Last season's top defender with 175 points from 2 goals and 6 assists, 15 clean sheets and more bonus points than you can shake a stick at. Chelsea are in a bit of a shake-up right now, but they are and have been usually one of the best defensive teams around, so don't discount Dave. Going big at the back doesn't seem to be detrimental to your squad. Kane has talked about in the Fab 4 draft as a likely placeholder here. It's just to show you what you could afford up top. And a quick shout out to Perez, whilst having scary looking fixtures, did impress last season with 8 goals and 6 assists. My next draft is a Midfield Mountain draft. More will be said about Ramsey and Sané there. Moving on to the Midfield Mountain draft. Putting your money in the midfield. This is not a preferred option of mine, but it's worth showing all sides of the coin. There's still some great attacking options here, so let's take a look over some. Salah I covered in my Fab 4 draft. There really is not much more to be said on him that hasn't been covered already. He's owned by 46.5% of managers already at the time of making this video. If he bangs early, it can be hard to upgrade to him if you don't have him, but far easier to downgrade to somebody else if he doesn't pull the form of last season. Willian was the second highest scoring midfielder for Chelsea last season, getting 6 goals and 8 assists, to the total of 130 points. There's some doubt if he'll still be at Chelsea under Siri, but if he stays and plays, he's a great price at 7.5. He took a shot every 35 minutes last season, 29 of those in the box and 24 on target. And moving on to Eriksen. As I've covered in other drafts, people seem to be avoiding Spurs for their World Cup involvement, which included pretty much all of their team. But if something's going to happen for them, it will likely go through Eriksen. He got 11 goals and 10 assists last season and 199 points. He also had 90 different shots and created 85 chances for his teammates. Next up is Aaron Ramsey, or Rambo as I like to call him. Rambo missed a fair part of last season and does often have his problems with injury. However, if re-signed at Arsenal, Emery has already stated he wants to build the team around Aubameyang and Ramsey. You can see why. With 1,374 less minutes than Eriksen last season, he still managed to score 7 goals and 10 assists for a total of 130 points. He had 700 total forward passes and has a shot accuracy of 56%. Last in our pyramid of Midfield Mountain players is Sané. Now we all know about Pep Roulette, but we have a good idea of at least one of the midfielders who should start the season, and that's Sané. He didn't go to the World Cup, and has travelled for pre-season matches, and he was by far one of the best rotation midfielders of last season. He has a scorer attack score of 915.81. He got 10 goals and 15 assists for 179 points last season. I think Sané is the least riskiest pick of the City attack right now. Whether it remains that way, we'll need to see. As for the rest of this squad, I'm seeing lots of people go without Vardy. Vardy was the second best striker last season with 183 points. From 20 goals and 2 assists. I think he might be avoided because he will no longer be fed crosses from Mahrez, but he's not a bad option, especially against the bigger teams. On that note, he has Man United up first. Defensively, it's just worth mentioning Tompkins made it in for his 4.5 price tag. He can grab a goal, and he did get 3 last season. Kompany and Stones went late into the World Cup, and Laporte travelled with the team pre-season. He could be one to watch. Mainly though, these players are placed here to show you how you could shape your squad if you wanted to go big in midfield. This is the balanced squad draft. For everyone, this means different things. For me, this means 2 premium players in each position and a premium goalkeeper. Now again, these could be anybody. As an example, I've gone 11 million Aguero and 9.5 in Lacazette. Lacazette is worth considering as an alternative to Aubameyang. He's cheaper, he had 59 shots inside the area and got 14 goals and 5 assists last season. It looks as if Emery will play both Aubameyang and Lacazette up front. If this is the case, he could aid in a more balanced squad. At 11 million and 9.5 though, either of these forwards can be any other striker bar Kane. Then my 2 premium midfielders of Salah and Sané, both covered in previous drafts. My 2 premium defenders are Robertson, again covered in previous drafts, and Smalling. Smalling has 88% pass completion rate. By eye, United's defence is a much better place with Smalling and Jones in it. Saying that, Jones is a risky pick from the start, but we should see him play alongside Bailey to begin with. As Man United and Liverpool are covered, the keeper in this draft is Ederson. As mentioned, past Arsenal, City have a very good run of games. Ederson got 16 clean sheets last season, only 2 less than David De Gea, and he's 0.5 less in price. In this draft, I am left with a 50-50 playing bench. Ederson is set and forget, so Baruch is just a placeholder. The rest, especially Tompkins and Stevens, should be starters. Quick mention on Hughes here before wrapping up this draft. For the amount of minutes he's played, he's been pretty impressive on stats. Not to mention 3 good starting fixtures. In his 987 minutes for Watford, he got 2 goals and 3 assists, and has a shot accuracy of 82%. Moving on to the Salahless budget draft. In this draft, I've tried to pick out some of the budget gems. The most expensive player in this team is Firmino. Everyone else is 7.5 or less. I also have a playing bench and a whole lot of cash left in the bank. So as Firmino is the most expensive, let's start there. He gained 181 points with 15 goals and 8 assists last season, and he had an 82% shot accuracy, 52 of those shots being inside of the area. There have been a lot of additions to Liverpool this season, but if you don't have Salah, you really should consider having Firmino or Mane from the start. Sitting next to Firmino, I have the reclassified Zaha. He got 136 points last season from 9 goals and 7 assists. He also has a 76% pass completion rate. From pre-season though, there is some worry that he's been taking more out on the wing again, rather than in the centre where he was towards the end of last season. For the same price, you could consider another reclassified player in Arnautovic. He had a slightly better shot accuracy to Zaha last season and got 11 goals and 7 assists. My budget forwards are completed with Toussaint. Toussaint only joined Everton in January, but got 5 goals in his 55 minutes. That coupled with his pre-season form, he's more than a decent budget pick. Ramsey I've covered in another draft, however Gross was a surprise for us all last season. He got 7 goals and 8 assists to the tune of 164 points. He's integral to the Brighton team with 605 total passes forward and 79 chances created last season. Jota is a new one on me. He's part of the promoted side Wolves, and I hear a lot of people are talking about him. Now what I will say is that the Championship is not the Premier League, but as with growth, sometimes it can make the players gems. He got 17 goals and some say 5 assists, others say 6 assists, some say I don't know, but definitely more than 4 in the Championship last season. A massive 1,173.97 squawker attack rate and 112 total shots with 76 of them inside the area. Again, I stress the Championship is not the Premier League, but Jota could be this season's gross, so keep an eye out from him. Takura is another that partly looked promising at the start of last season with his 7 goals and 4 assists. I think this is tough because there are so many really great players in this price bracket. For me, I'd consider Hughes, if playing, for 0.5 less. If you wanted to invest in another promoted club, however, this spot could be taken by Callum Patterson of Cardiff, who got covered in my budget midfielders video, so make sure you check that out. My last midfielder spot goes to Kennedy of Newcastle. Now because Newcastle fixtures are awful, terrible, scary, did I say awful? 4 out of 5 of his first games back. He got 2 goals and 2 assists in 51 minutes. Though after his move to Newcastle from Chelsea on loan, he should be a first team starter, and he could be a good little bench warmer. At this point, I'd just like to mention on breaking news that Jose Mourinho has said that Martial and Sanchez will be his strikers for the start of the season. If you can trust what Jose has said, then you might want to consider Martial as part of your team. If he's going to be playing a striker role, then he's a midfielder in the fantasy football game and could be a really good attacking addition to your team for not very much money at 7.5 mil. Now onto the defence. Robertson featured in previous drafts. I've tried to cover this defence with attack. The big punt in this team is Mendy. He's gone to pre-season and he started last season before his injury, where Delph took over, but Delph was at the World Cup. Mendy isn't nailed on, but he did grab an assist last season and might be worth a punt. Cedric has made it into this draft because he's hard to look past at 4.5. He got 3 assists for Southampton last season, but it's Van Aanholt for Crystal Palace that is the big interest. With 5 goals and 1 assist, 9 shots inside the area and 434.01 squawker attack score. That's not bad for a defender. Add that to the brace he scored in pre-season against Halmstad and that completes my budget attacking defenders. The goalkeepers equate to 9.5 million of the budget and rotate well. I've first seen this in a tweet from @MattKearney92, who also covers a few other cheaper option goalkeepers to rotate. So make sure you check that out. Before you go, there is just enough time to tell you this video and all my videos this season are sponsored by matchfit.biz, the home of sensibly priced football shirts. So be sure to check them out. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and do all those fabulous things. Nymphrya out.